be excited to see this one. We've been at this for about a month or two now.
Yeah, they started at the beginning of September, end of August, really. So we got Muncha on your left, Primorix on the right, also known as Bagfellow. Muncha, the man who poured his heart into this category, and Bagfellow, one of the strongest contenders for Shovel Any percent, has really been pushing low percent super hard. He actually almost had world record a couple times, but he's been firmly dancing around second place for a while.
Although a couple of days ago, Applesock shattered the world record, and so Primorix is currently in third. But anyways, this is playing. Oh boy, Leap of Faith. Do they make it? Do they make it? They made it!
Yeah, Leap of Faith is always a little bit scary, but it's one of those things that, like, this is the first level, so any of the scarier tricks we usually nail consistently, especially runners at this level.
Yeah, so one of the things you're seeing a lot is the Shovel Knight jumps a lot. And the primary reason for that is that you don't slow down when you're in the air when you swing your shovel, but also you accelerate more quickly in the air than you do on the ground.
Yeah, once you jump, you immediately hit your full run speed, so runners are going to be jumping basically anytime they've just had like a full stop. So like tops of ladders, starts of stages. And the reason why we're going over all this like tiny stuff is because this is low percent and they're not going to be getting anything else more complex. They're not going to be getting any of Shovel Knight's relics, they're not going to get any of the armors, none of the health upgrades.
You can't even grab music sheets. You grab one, your run's over.
So they're setting up for bubble wrap right now, which is still possible in low percent. In fact, this is just basically the way it's done. They're positioning themselves so that they can bounce off these two bubbles, touch the screen transition while being really, really high up in the air. The camera basically tries to follow Shovel Knight and it ejects you into the room directly above where you were.
That trick wasn't discovered until after Plague Knight came out, right?
Yeah, it was discovered right before Smoggy and Muncha had their GDQ race. So this is the Black Knight Stunlock. It's pretty simple. You want to be hitting him in the air before you land and then jumping immediately afterwards.
So another important bit about jumping is it cancels your shovel swing, which can allow you to get more swings more quickly.
This is the losers finals.
Or the participation finals. you know, lower bracket. Losers! Wait, who do they get in Village? Nobody!
Yeah,
it's an empty village.
It's kind of sad.
This one is cursed.
Something about Primorix is that one of the townies that we were kind of looking for is literally named Bagfellow, and for whatever reason, Primorix has made that his spirit animal.
General Hop, here we go.
Okay, so Primorix got it. Muncha did not.
So there's a bit on the screen transition there where if you swing the shovel at the right time during a jump, you can get slightly extra height during the jump, and that's going to allow them to make it to the platform if they did it right. And it's only done there, maybe end of Lich Yard.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and verify something in chat. Yes, since David and I also competed in the tournament, we're also both losers, and we're worse losers than the guys who are currently playing on screen.
But I'm a happy, giggling loser.
Yeah, that has maybe nothing to do with what I was doing before the stream, huh?
Yeah. So I missed this in Chandelier Room, but one other thing about jumping is you eventually learn that you don't always want a full height jump. You want to carefully control the heights of your jumps.
Damage boosting is going to be very prevalent as well for Shovel Knight. And since you have a very low amount of health, the only way this could really get scarier is in any percent you pick up something called the Conqueror's Coat that increases the damage you take by 1.5 times. You won't be getting any health to compensate for that, so it's sort of like that. Your health is as much a resource as anything else right now.
Yeah, these first couple of stages aren't too difficult. I mean, they're kind of just warming you up to the game. You know, maybe this pit might be a little bit scary, but it's not.
They are doing quickest books. Basically, QuickBooks has a setup where you go through the room and you never stop holding right after you poke off the first book. But quickest books involves a damage boost at the end. It's a little scary. It's a little more damage you're taking. And then they're fighting King Knight right now. Looks like Primorix is a slight lead. But this is the standard-looking King Knight quick kill. 1, 2, 3. Ooh! Primorix actually got the extra hit in, so he actually got to kill King Knight just a little bit quicker.
Yeah, Muncha also had the quick kill, except he did not have the extra shovel swing up top. Like, still very good fights though. The King Knight fight is one that really shows off just how powerful shovel canceling is. Because we mentioned before, this is low percent and we're not getting any items. We don't need any items.
Yeah, Shovel Knight is actually one of the more effective characters with his basic toolkit.
Alright, so in Lich Yard, it's slightly harder than Pridemore, but not too much. You're gonna get these frogs. They have RNG to their jumping patterns. They might jump small, they might jump big, they might jump in the opposite direction. No matter what they do though, they're probably gonna mess up your day.
As far as like other RNG elements of the run go, it's basically down to like small creatures. So frogs, slimes, rats, Jawas. But those aren't small, they're just evil.
And then you get these dark rooms that are pretty scary the first time you're playing them, but really they're not that bad for a speedrun. Except maybe the last one.
So Applesauce briefly mentioned would be down for a Super Claw cheat code tourney. This tournament is very clearly a high skill tournament. This is not something that a lot of people entered in the first place, and it's very difficult to even reliably complete low percent. It was a very difficult tournament to get people involved in. That doesn't mean that there aren't other more enjoyable ways to play Shovel Knight. So remember, if you ever feel like spicing it up, there's plenty of cheat codes you could use.
420 God Mode's a pretty popular one.
Yeah, that one's actually one of the best cheat codes around.
Yeah, there's... Oh, Muncha took the safety food. That's interesting. Like, 3 circles of health is actually plenty for the rest of this stage.
Yeah, he definitely didn't need to, but he's at least taking more damage boost to compensate.
Safety checkpoint, grab it. Sweet.
It's one of those things that just doesn't cost any time to grab, really. Like, it doesn't take more than a second, so... And the penalty for dying in this room is like a half minute at least.
Whoa, Muncha taking it a little safe there. I don't blame him though. This last dark room can be really scary. You're usually jumping on moving platforms you can't see with skeletons you can't see.
So Primorix and Muncha both doing a gentle hop to start the fight at the top. It doesn't really save a lot of time, but like the frames count. Standard beginning to the fight. They're gonna pin Spectre to the left side, and then they're gonna hope for Spectre to cooperate.
Ooh, no
here.
coin flip.
Yeah, bad RNG for Primorix. Good
But
RNG
good for Muncha.
So that evens them back up. In fact,
Yes.
Muncha's slightly ahead.
So Spectre Knight's Scythe Throw, the first one is always opposite side of the screen, but the second one, it's random which side of the screen you get it on. You want it closer to you. Primorix got the bad Scythe Throw and Muncha got the good one, and that's about a 4-second difference. Coming up we've got Dream 1. Shield Knight will appear after enough time has passed or if you run out of life, so naturally these runners are going to take damage as quick as possible. Notice that the skeletons can raise their swords. They actually do double damage when they do that, so you want to make sure you get hit by those raised swords. And then end up in the middle.
Those very small differences in how each player plays, Primorix just evened it right back up. So originally Muncha was in the lead by like maybe half a second, but Primorix communicated with the skeletons a little bit better. And this is what's basically, like, this is how the rest of the race is going to play out. Whoever manages to save the most frames is going to be the winner. Not that there won't be moments where something tragic could happen. There are plenty of dangerous elements to the run later on that could cost them way more if they happen to make a small mistake.
Yeah, so for example, after Dream 1 we start heading into what we call World 2, and during World 2 the game devs stop going easy on you. We've got Explodatorium here.
Oh!
Yeah. Ooh!
See,
Whoa, is that gonna miss the cycle? No, he still made the cycle!
Oh man, that was lucky on his part, but like this, it was like not even possible to tell what did Bagfellow do wrong compared to Muncha. Ooh, nice, and they both got the push and reflect.
Yeah, so these pots are on a global cycle from the moment that you enter this stage, and they're on basically the optimal cycle.
They're actually doing the most optimal cycle, which involves a little more damage boosting and is pretty scary. Primorix kind of ran the risk of dying. Pot lids, the acid underneath them does a full heart of damage.
Look at that sink!
Another element that might switch it up for them is the Alchemeister, the mini-boss coming up. He could possibly throw a red potion. Red potions, when reflected, will bounce back at him, whereas the green ones will only go straight up. If they get lucky, they'll get a couple green ones directly on top of them as well.
Look at that! They got simultaneous kills.
And because they both entered the stage at the same time, they both have the same potential. Ooh, Bagfellow pulling up. He actually got the, it's a very precise movement you need to beat that fire cycle.
Do they get let? Ooh, that's
scary.
Okay, he gets it. So you bounce off the Chompy to get to the ladder off screen, because you can grab it off screen and that causes the screen transition. But yeah, that Chompy to ladder skip is really, really hard, and it's a very common dying point.
These slime-based Shovel Knights will basically mimic whenever you jump, so you can manipulate them a little bit. Bagfellow probably gonna do the damage boost.
Does he grab health? No health.
Oh man, things are kind of looking weird for Muncha. This is really bad. This one like slime fellow.
Muncha's got to grab health for sure. But Primorix is feeling confident. So Plague Knight is a very RNG fight. He can do small hops or big hops, and anywhere from 1 to 3 hops. And if he cooperates, then you can just wail away at him. But if he hops away from you and you have to chase him down, you're gonna have a bad time.
He just gave Muncha better RNG. Muncha just
that looks like really good fight for Muncha.
Yeah, the third jump is the one you're worried about with Plague Knight, where he jumps 2 short hops and then 1 long hop across the room. And then it's just really difficult to stay on top of him. So Muncha lost a little bit of time at the very end of the stage, just the way the pots lined up, because he lost time in the previous pot cycle room.
Explodatorium is a pretty dangerous stage. I mean, it's not as bad once you get used to it, but it's a very clear step up in difficulty.
Iron Whale, similarly, a little bit more difficult. The beginning is pretty tame, but the latter half is usually what causes runners to die. There's a lot of damage you could potentially take. Treasure Knight deals a lot of damage himself. There's a lot of spikes and pits you could fall into.
Yeah, I would say Iron Whale is the easiest of the World 2 stages, but that's relative. It still has its hard parts. So like the water physics aren't too bad, except you don't want to mistime your jumps. Like especially in here with all these eels, they're timing their jumps very carefully so that they never stop holding right. Primorix is gonna pogo swing. Is he gonna do the fast strat or the safe strat? Safe strat.
So, that was strange. I feel like Muncha's going to knock out the first 2 tentacles pretty easily. That's essentially what I expected Primorix to do. But if he might have made a mistake. But yeah, you can just hold down Pogo. You'll guarantee knocking out the second one, which is the one you're a little more concerned with.
Yeah, doing the swing and the pogo, the timing is actually pretty tight there. But now is everyone's favorite high fish, Teethalon.
Yeah, Teethalon moves very erratically, and you want to get 12 hits in on him. If he's moving around a lot, or if he's too high to the top, too close to the top
Perfect.
of the screen. Yeah, good job for Primorix.
5-6 on Muncha. That fish is moving a lot. That's not gonna do it. He's got 2 hits left. Sometimes the fish just moves too much to be able to get it reliably. So that's why we call him the 420 fish, because sometimes he just gets too high. Oh boy, this Duck Knight. This Duck Knight can ruin your
This
die.
is evil. Okay, that's fine. He's in a good spot where his anchor won't kill Primorix.
There's
Muncha
like
might kill him.
No anchor 1.
Ooh,
Yeah.
nice kill.
Primorix has taken the anchors really safe, which I don't blame him for. It's possible to go through those anchors a lot more quickly. I don't see much doing anchor 1 either.
I expect
Ooh.
Muncha to do anchor 2.
Whoa, that was dangerous. Good save though.
Getting hit by the
That's
by
gonna
the
cost him. He might have to go for the turkey. Yeah, he's going for it. So there's no turkey right before Treasure Knight. So anything past here you go into the fight with. Primorix is on 3 health. Treasure Knight, you're basically up in his face and getting hit a lot. That anchor does a full circle of damage.
Ooh.
Come on, Primorix. Okay, fine. Whew. Relax my heart.
Fighting,
Oh god.
Fighting Treasure Knight's pretty annoying. The water physics makes it very awkward to do your typical shovel canceling.
Plus you don't
Where's
have the
the
refill before the
ceiling?
fight. And the anchor does double damage, so sometimes it's a scary fight. Muncha, well, apart from Treasure Knight going up to the ceiling, that's bad RNG. You don't want to kill him up high. Had an okay fight. Alright, Lost City. What would you say is harder, Lost City or the Explodatorium?
I think Explodatorium is harder, but the reasons why Lost City is difficult is it's almost down to way more lethal situations.
Yeah,
Beetle 1 is slightly tense. This is something that any percent runners do, where instead of waiting on this giant beetle, they have manipulated that birder enemy that we call Steve to bounce in such a way.
Ooh.
Oh! Primorix having to abort. Is he going to be able to save this at all?
There is
this
no
gonna
way.
cost a ton of time.
Yeah, what Primorix wanted to do is lure the bird over to the right and then bounce off of him and to get up there without the beetle.
Wow, this is costing him a ton of time. And here's Muncha doing it, looks like properly.
Muncha was
Nice.
actually a little fast there, but he knows the backup.
Yeah, he had to buffer a little bit. Now, Primorix on very low health. You can make it through the rest of this room without taking damage.
Don't die,
but any
don't die,
mistakes
don't die.
here-
Fine.
Ooh. Muncha
Alright, he's
hesitated
good.
for a second twice because of RNG. That slime jumped at him.
So, I am not used to health being a concern in this stage, except maybe when you get to Mole Knight.
I would usually heal there because of how quick it is to grab if I've been taking too much damage, but you shouldn't have had as much damage taken as Primorix just had, that's for sure. He had a much shakier start.
That's slime!
Like I
Taking
said,
away his
slimes-
green blob. Slimes are bad news. Those things are also RNG, and sometimes they jump or move in ways that you just don't want. Can he get the 3 pogo? That looks like a 2. I mean a 3, sorry. What am I saying? He wants the 2 pogo. Does Muncha have it? Nope, 3.
Yes, Sixer, this is low percent, so they're not allowed to pick up anything that adds percentage, which mostly details that they can't get weapon or armor upgrades or health upgrades, but they also can't pick up any music sheets, which becomes relevant later on. Right now they're doing Beetle 2. Primorix had a pretty good start to his setup. He's going to slap this birder real quick just to have him wait a moment and then cross over the first gap.
Muncha's looking pretty unhealthy.
Thing. Ooh, Muncha missed the verter, so now Steve is kind of doing.
But he's in a good position. No, he didn't go for it.
Okay, that was
interesting backup. He's got to grab the health though.
It would be possible to do it without, but it's just such a huge punishment for dying to the boss.
Yeah, Mole Knight's a pretty easy fight. He's gonna dive into the walls. You're gonna slap him twice on each pass. And then when he comes out this time, he's going to slide along the ground. You try to reflect the projectile. Muncha didn't manage it. Go to that corner there, wail away.
It was a good thing that Muncha got that health because he took an accidental hit in the first half of the fight.
Yeah. Are they both playing on PC?
Yeah, I do believe both runners are playing on PC. Pretty certain that Muncha is. There's no differences between the consoles. Not for the speedrun anyway. Like, controller preference is a thing that you have a little more control over in on PC. But right now, they're in Dream 2, and there's actually something special they can do, so we'll see if Backfellow can set it up.
Ooh! Didn't quite get it.
He had the right health for it, but he didn't get the pogo. Essentially, you end the dream sequences by summoning Shield Knight when you die, but if you can die in the air and catch Shield Knight while you're flying in the air, you can actually...
Muncha, almost!
Really close.
Oh, so close.
Essentially, your sleeping body would slide out the stage, and you would have caught her like much sooner, which ends the sequence faster.
Oh boy, but now we're into World 3, and if you thought World 2 was hard, then oh boy, because the developers are stepping it up again. So this is Stranded Ship. Basically your ice stage. You won't notice the ice too much because of all the jumping you're doing.
Primorix unfortunately did not get... There's a precise setup so you don't have to stop holding right, which is... We're saying that a lot because there's not a lot you can do to go fast as Shovel Knight, just to prevent yourself from, you know, keeping... Anytime you have to slow down, it's bad. Muncha did get the setup. He didn't have to stop holding right at all.
So here's where the stage starts to get interesting, because there are spikes. There's quite a few of them, and that ice covers the spikes and makes them not harmful. But then now we get to these rainbow statues. They go over bottomless pits, and you need these things.
Yeah, the primary way World 3 tries to threaten you is because they're basically under the assumption that, oh yeah, you probably got a lot of health upgrades, and you have, you know, the phase locket, which normally prevents you from taking damage for a little while. So World 3 is like filled with bottomless pits and spikes, much more so than World 2.
Yeah, it's pretty lethal. And like, if your run hasn't died to this point, you'll probably die somewhere along these next few stages. Hammer Bow Pogo? That looks good.
This is a stage where you also do a lot of damage boosting, so towards the end of the stage, if they take an accidental damage, it's a little scarier. The last room in particular is entirely spike-filled, essentially.
Health isn't too far out of the way if you manage to make it to Polo Knight, but until then, like, you've got one health bar for the whole stage and pretty much a whole bunch of stuff just waiting to dive at you.
Yeah, health is hidden around, but you have to know where it is, and for now, where Primorix is, there's no healing until he gets to the end of the stage.
He has way more than enough health for this part. So does Muncha.
Primorix taking the slightly safer way through the room. There is a faster setup that Azulike found, and some of the other low percent runners were going for it.
Oh, he does grab the health.
Yeah, 2 full hearts is enough to survive Polar Knight pretty easily, but you can't make mistakes. And this is a time where nerves could easily be getting the runners.
Yeah, so the way Polar Knight's gonna work, you basically do 2 series of wails at him, so he charges across the screen twice, he'll jump into the air, come back down, and then hopefully you finish him off there like Primorix did. So,
Every boss has a set list of behaviors, and they kind of check a couple different things. Shovel Knight's position and their own health, essentially, will determine what they do. So you're going to see a lot more manipulations on bosses in terms of getting them to specific spots where we can kill them more quickly.
oh boy, Clockwork Tower. Oh, this stage. Oh god, this is the worst stage I feel in low percent.
This stage is pretty awful. This is a lot of hot garbage because normally you would have the propeller dagger or the dust knuckles. You would even be able to get the mobile gear in this stage, and those eliminate a ton of the problems that you would face in this level. Instead, they're gonna have to be damage boosting quite a lot. Most of these things deal full-hearted damage. There's very little health anywhere at all.
Ooh, Muncha.
Yeah,
Muncha has to take that damage. You can't avoid it.
Muncha almost fell into a pit of spikes because he wasn't able to jump up and do a proper damage boost in time. So, and his second jump, he didn't jump hard enough to make it up there. And he almost walked into the pit.
Okay, so here's where the stage starts to get bad. Those flying daggers, Primorix took damage on purpose to walk across the spikes, and sometimes the flying daggers, they'll give you a bad pattern, but then in this room, with all these moving platforms, there are more daggers, and they're trying to knock you out of the air when you're already committed to your jump. And if you don't deal with them in the right way, or they're just out for your life, then...
Muncha made it up top. That's actually really, really difficult. That's a super precise set of jumps he has to do that. Neither of them opted to heal.
Is Primorix gonna... There's no way Primorix goes for that trick.
There is a damage boost setup you can do to get through half the auto-scroller, but that would put him at half a heart, because he would have to take at least 2 damage boosts. And then the enemies afterwards, he would not be able to damage boost through them. There's no way I would see him doing that. That's actually really scary. If he can't bait the Silver Duck Knight, it can kill him.
2 damage.
No!
Oh god, it jumped right over him. Checkpoint for safety. Grab it, grab it, grab it. Those gears deal full. Okay, good.
He needs to take, body contact to not die.
Bodied by Wisdom. So here's the other bit. The turkey in the wall right there is probably going to be the last one they grab. There's one right before Tinker himself, but it's a little out of the way and a little difficult to grab. So ideally...
Primorix is fine. He's not going to take it. And then Muncha doesn't need to take it. It would cost like 3 seconds to grab. And 3 hearts is enough to fight Tinker Knight.
Yeah, Tinker Knight is one of those cruel joke fights that you suddenly find out are a lethal joke. At least in low percent. Because Tinker Knight runs around a lot, somewhat randomly, and he throws wrenches in front of him, and he jumps, and sometimes he's hard to keep up with. So we got Primorix coming up here. He's probably going to jump over that first wrench, slap away at him. Damage boost on purpose, that's fine.
He's fighting him on the right side. That's not something I've ever done myself. I usually do what Munch is doing right now, fighting him on the left. The first couple seconds, like about 5 or 6 seconds of the fight, are deterministic-ish. Tinker's behavior will only change after he runs into a wall, essentially.
Muncha was pogoing a lot off of Tinker, which is a good way to keep the damage coming, though a little bit slower than optimal.
Honestly, sometimes you don't have much of a choice, because even if you're constantly slapping him and taking damage to stay on top of him, you're losing time in that sense. And Muncha tried to go for a very difficult beginning to Tinker 2, where you jump off the missile and use your shovel, but he unfortunately missed the jump. He bounced off, or he bonked off of his shoulder.
Yeah, apart from a few extra shovel swings at the beginning, there's not a whole lot that can be done to... Ooh!
Oh no, and he fell down. Now he has to wait for this... but he got
I
up
haven't
really
seen that before.
quickly. Wow, Munch is showing exactly how knowledgeable he is in all kinds of situations. I would say Munch is one of the strongest racers. He's been running this game basically since 2014. When the game came out, like, he started running it shortly afterwards. He definitely got the game on launch. So every little thing he knows, he'll probably be pulling out at this point.
I mean, it certainly takes a lot of race experience to beat Patwa, who held the world record a few days ago and was the favorite to win his match.
Yeah, Muncha actually beat Patois with a time that was, I think it was 47:30, which was the best of the tournament. Not far from his current PB at all. He was like 10 seconds off.
Anyway, so we haven't talked about this stage very much. Flying Machine. Sometimes referred to as Dying Machine. Because we got more spikes and we got more pits, and we've got green flying meanies with fans on their backs who are just looking to blow you into those spikes and pits. They're pretty awful.
Those hover minis are the Jawa enemies.
Oh, so close!
Or
You almost had the pogo.
Yeah, unfortunately, Primorix had the good dinghy dropper kill, but didn't get up top. Muncha looking in a better spot to do that. Let's see it. Nice!
That was good. Nice!
That's pretty difficult. Oh, he's not doing a damage boost. Okay, Primorix just kind of chilling at the top of the screen.
It's possible to get through that room a little faster with a damage boost, but the damage boost is a little scary, and if you miss it, then you're gonna fall to the bottom of the screen. Muncha got it.
Nice. Muncha saves a little bit of time there.
Triple flying mini. Oh, wow.
Primorix did not set up the triple Jawas.
That was a good triple Jawa room for Muncha. Like 3 flying meanies in one room. Usually that's the worst room of all time. Almost. It's up there.
Yo, shoutouts to Speed Gaming for letting us use their channel again for the tournament. And shoutouts to Lori, who's our restreamer tonight. She really helped us out.
Yeah, she participated in the Plague tournament. She cool. Okay, so can Primorix make it through this room? The jumps here are a little tricky on timing. Good, no falls.
It's a
But
popular
Muncha-
room to do laps in. Muncha also making it through without falling back down.
Muncha's made up a lot of ground here. He's like, same room, half a room behind.
Nice, both of them getting the fastest cycle for low percent, which is still a little tricky.
Close.
The faster this wind tunnel is particularly scary.
Yeah, both of them went for a really fast wind cycle room, which it's not too hard to do, but the timing's tight, and if you mess it up, then you're probably gonna hit the spikes in the ceiling.
So for Propeller, they want to hit Propeller as he's doing his lunge thrust. They don't want to hit him when he's kind of stopped, because if they do, then Propeller would have flown to the right side of the screen. So Backfiller got the setup.
Oh, double
Muncha got the
perfect
setup.
fights!
Good job on both of them.
That quick kill is pretty hard to pull off, and both runners got it. It's so awesome!
Yeah, that's definitely one of the more satisfying kills to do in the game.
So Dream 3 also has a catch in the air thing that you can do. My understanding is that in low percent, it's a little more RNG based whether you can even get it at all.
No one's gotten it in the tournament at all. Primorix might
Primorix is setting it up.
Oh my god!
Man.
Jesus Christ, I literally did not expect it. Oh my god!
That is really, really difficult.
Oh, Primorix got it in his last race? Wow. I must have missed that. Jesus. But yeah, seeing him get it in the run at all, that is really difficult to set up properly.
Alright, so here we are in Tower 1. Basically, you're Dr. Wily of Shovel Knight. It's gonna throw elements of every previous stage at you. You've got the books, you've got the platforms, you've got moving platforms, you've got propeller rats. They better cooperate, because you're going for a pogo. That looks good. And they better cooperate here. That looks okay, I think. Oh, that was scary.
That was a little close. You know, these propeller rats are extremely annoying, because they can waste...
Not cooperating for Muncha. Come on, rats!
Yeah, that was too far away. Muncha didn't want to wait on 3 movements.
So these propeller rats are probably the worst part of low percent, because you can get all the way to Tower 1 only for your run to die because they didn't give you an opening to actually finish the room.
Yeah, they usually only take 3 movements, but I have seen them take 4 movements before, which feels really gross. This Crusher section, they do have to be pretty swift about it. It's still possible to get like a fairly quick cycle for low percent. It's not as fast as any percent, but it's also precise. Oh, Muncha not baiting the Duck Knights by dropping down. Interesting. There's a small setup you can do where you drop down and it baits them to jump over you, which is a little bit slower, but I always figured you would get hit no matter what you do otherwise.
So the next room that Muncha's coming up on, there's actually 2 paths to take, the lower path and the upper path. I expect most of the experienced runners to take the lower path. Most newer runners would probably try to go above the platforms because of all the enemies in the way. Although that jump is kind of hard to make. With enough experience, you just stick to the lower path.
So they're coming up on the final dark room. This room has 1 enemy in it. It's a lone Jawa, and it's something.
Whoa, setup.
That's kind of scary. Yeah, you jump in a specific spot so that he tries to blow you from the top of the screen. Muncha will probably also do that, but that also means that you can't be getting food. Nice, Muncha got it as well. So they're both going into Black Knight here. 2.5 hearts.
So you can do the same stun lock against Black Knight as you did in Plains, but it's quite a bit tighter. A tip for you newer runners is don't watch the position of Shovel Knight, watch the position of Black Knight. Because if you swing based on Black Knight's position rather than your own, you'll have a much easier time with the stun lock.
So good job, Bagfellow. He managed to keep the lock the whole time. Muncha not far behind. I would say this is maybe like a 15-second, 10-second difference. We'll see.
The impressive part here is neither of them stopped for food. Sometimes Black Knight is scary enough that you want the food right before that last Jawa, just to be sure you can survive the fight. But nope, these two, stun lock for ages.
14 second difference between the two right now. Primorix in the lead. So Muncha could make that up in a number of ways. They're coming up on boss rush at the end of this stage. If Muncha has overall cleaner fights, if Primorix makes more mistakes throughout, Muncha could easily catch up. There's a couple of other tricks that are easy to miss that could cost Primorix a little bit of time. This room, particularly the Mario Maker room, as we call it, there's a couple of timed pogos you have to do. Ooh. Nice! Primorix got both of them. Now Muncha has to live up to that if he wants to keep the gap.
I don't expect Primorix is going to die in this rainbow statue room. It's not unheard of, but once you know the setup for it, the room gets a little bit easier.
Muncha got the double pogos correctly in the Mario Maker room, and Primorix actually went for faster strats, so Muncha will have to do his own stuff in order to go through as quickly as possible.
Yeah, so this rainbow statue room can be super challenging because you've got flying meanies, and that's a narrow platform. You don't really have any room to let them do anything to you, but if you know the setup, then you can kill them with the statue before they can move.
Wow, both of them a very clean tower too. So they're coming up on boss rush now. They'll be getting a health refill between every boss fight, and they will also get a free health refill at the top of the auto scroller. Neither of them got any music sheets, by the way. There are a couple of them that were hidden around that you could accidentally get, but it's pretty easy to avoid them. So as a technicality for the tournament, we are holding people accountable to not screw around.
Thankfully, nobody has grabbed a music sheet all tournament.
That was a little scary. Archers deal a full heart, so you definitely don't want to take too much damage at this point. Those rad explosions could also deal a full heart.
I'm somewhat surprised he's not taken the safe strat. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, that's about when you would start jumping through the blocks. So long as they're not on the screen, essentially you can go through them because they're.
Yeah, Muncha's all the way to the top already. Grabs the food off screen.
41-23 as he landed. He gets propeller first. Boss order is random except for Polar Knight, who is guaranteed to be one of the first three. 41-36 for Muncha. So about a 13-second difference now.
So Propeller is actually a little bit easier in boss rush. He's going to do 3 sets of lunges, and because of that, you can kill him before he lifts off the ground.
So Muncha now on his second fight. Primorix coming up on his third fight with Plague Knight. You don't want to get Plague Knight first or last if possible. It's just nicer to have health refills available when you're fighting Plague Knight.
Yeah, because this is low percent, and if there's a fight that you might die on, it's going to be the Plague Knight fight. They're both getting it early on. The King Knight fight's going to change a little bit too, because there's no ceiling, so pogoing is less effective. Plague Knight is not
only
cooperating.
A couple fights that are like slightly different because of that. King Knight and Treasure Knight specifically are a little bit more based on the shape of the room. Tinker Knight not cooperating too well with Primorix. This is kind of troublesome. He could be losing time here based on how Muncha does with his Tinker Knight fight.
Plague didn't cooperate from Muncha, so...
Yeah, Primorix had a great Plague fight. Oh no, and Muncha let Spectre go. That's, he doesn't want to be making these kinds of mistakes at this point. He needs to be making up time. Potentially the last boss could even things up a little bit. You got a couple extra hits there on Spectre, good job.
Spectre is another fight that changes a bit, because the floor is too high up for you to be able to effectively shovel cancel against him.
And Muncha took a hit on King Knight. Oh, but Primorix is...
almost.
Wow, he almost let Mole Knight go down. That would have been another huge time loss.
Spectre's gonna go right for him, which is a little better, but probably something not as practiced.
Muncha did a great job anticipating Tinker's move there. He actually managed to keep up with him. This fight might have been a little bit better, but Bagfellow definitely had a better Spectre fight.
So one thing to be aware of with Treasure Knight is you don't ever want to be standing on him when he comes out, because he'll take a little extra time to move over so he's not standing on top of you, and you don't want that extra time.
So Primorix just finished, and ironically, they both had the same last boss. Primorix kind of killed Treasure a little bit high up in the air, but he's definitely coming out first here.
So at this point, it's basically Primorix's to lose, which is still possible.
And Muncha, unfortunately, struggling way more with Treasure Knight. Oh,
Oof.
man. So Primorix had a 44.58.
So 12 seconds?
Oh, it's going to be more
Oh,
than
wait.
that.
You're doing it on fade out. Alright.
Yeah, I'm looking at fade out.
Alright, so we call this room Tower of Hera for reasons that should be very obvious.
So it's about a half-minute lead Primorix has, at 31 seconds.
Primorix took that room very safe. I think he knows he's ahead, and he doesn't want to lose his lead.
At this point, the biggest change up that could happen right now is Enchantress. If you succeed at the quick kill, you'd be saving about 20 seconds over the standard backup kill at that point. The quick kill involves you dealing at least enough damage to her that she has 3 hearts remaining. If she has more than 3 hearts remaining, going down there is complete suicide. You want less than that. Ideally, you'd have at 2 full hearts remaining. So 1-2 reflects, slash pogo slash, 1-2-3 reflects. It just has to get
One more. Okay, that's
pretty
good.
He should be able to get the quick kill here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Perfect.
So now he just has to wrap this up. He has to take on the Remnant of Fate. If he falls in a pit there, that would essentially spell doom for his chances of winning.
See how much it does. 1, 2. Whoa.
Ooh,
Few hits
nice. Wow, Muncha down a lot. One more hit would be nice. 4 hearts, that's great. Or 4 health. Good kill.
Shield went left. That's good for Primorix. And left hand. Wow, that's a good RNG.
Yeah, when so the open hand determines essentially where you want to be standing, and where Shield Knight stands is where her shield will pop up. High platform means you can deal more damage.
Whoa! How did he pogo? How did he do that?
30. Wow.
He actually made the pogo after Remnant went to the left. How did that happen? Oh man. Got the 2 cycle even after missing the hit on looks like Muncha is getting the 3 cycle and he's done. GG. 48.02 is still a really good time.
Yeah, he definitely kept up that entire time.
Hey, I believe we are joined by Primorix.
Hi.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
How do you feel?
Kind of relieved. I mean, a little surprised. You know, I didn't think I'd been playing this well in the days leading up to this match. So, I was really glad to be able to put together a solid Deathless run.
We were talking a little bit earlier about how Muncha had previously knocked out Patois with the fastest time of the tournament. You actually just beat the fastest time of the tournament just now by a couple seconds.
You know, but it was 47-33.
Yeah.
Too bad we couldn't get the tie. That seems to be the thing in low percent.
Yeah, Primorix is talking about there was a 3-way tie for second place for a little while.
On the leaderboard. But yeah, all the stuff on the leaderboards has been pretty insane.
Yeah, the tournament really invigorated the category. You guys have shaken it up quite a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this was a good race. Y'all were neck and neck for most of it.
Yeah, it looked like it. It looked like we were pretty close going into boss rush, and I didn't really see what happened after that. But yeah. I mean,
Yeah, one of the biggest differences between you and Muncha on this race was over in Exploratorium. The last pot lid actually held him up for quite a while. Like, it went up at least 3 times and he couldn't make the jump pick because the slime shovel was throwing him off timing-wise. And it wasn't coming up at a time where he could just jump over the Plague Minion's bomb.
oh, yeah. Yeah, that can definitely happen.
You had a couple slip-ups. You had a couple moments where you had the lead for most of the run, but there were a couple times where you'd gotten a little shaky. You didn't die at all.
I missed
Surprisingly.
Beetle 1.
Oh, man. Yeah, Beetle 1. That was... Oh! Muncha actually messed up on Beetle 2, by the way.
Oh. Yeah, I know I messed up Beetle 1, and then I should have had the Dream 2 catch, but I messed that up also, and then... Trying
Dude,
to think...
you madman. You got Dream 3.
Yeah.
So they told me that you got that on your last race.
Yeah, I did, against Apple.
Wow.
And you didn't have enough health for the auto-scroller skip in Clockwork Tower. I know you go for that one a lot.
Yeah, I got hit by the Red Duck Knight. I could have just taken the health earlier on and been fine, of course, but I've been trying to skip it and having a decent amount of success, so I just went for it and didn't work out this time. I actually almost died to the Silver Duck Knight.
You scared the crap out of me. Oh my god. Why didn't you try and jump and bait him?
That's just what I do. I go for him jumping over me. I don't know. It usually
Every time I've done
works.
that, he just kills me. Muncha also did not have cooperative rats in Tower 1. He went for it after 3 movements and he fell down a screen.
Oh, yeah, that. I hate when that happens. That's all there is to say about it. There's very little you can do.
Kill all the rats.
That's slow.
Just for fun.
Yeah, you both performed outstandingly. Your boss rushes were really great. You struggled a little bit more on Tinker, but you had an amazing Plague Knight, and your Spectre was fine.
Yeah, well, and I had a bad mole too.
Oh yeah, he almost got away from you.
Yeah.
You both got quick kills for Enchantress. Like the last 30 seconds that Muncha lost by effectively came down to his struggles in Exploratorium, and there was another spot he got particularly hung up on. It's probably just the falling in Tower 1, but otherwise you guys were essentially neck and neck. You guys were completely tied to the frame at the beginning of Exploratorium.
Wow.
That was actually hilarious. Up until you got hit by the Macabre.
Oh, yes. Yeah. That actually really threw me off, because then I just wasn't sure what cycle I was on for the rest of the stage.
So, you know what's funny is that even though you got hit, you caught up to him because you made the rest of the room just fine, and he had to wait because, he didn't take any damage. So you were still both on cycle.
Yeah, I thought that might be the case, but I just wasn't sure.
That was actually a good way to prove that, because I've never been sure myself, and I've never side-by-sided it, with someone else's run. Well done for science. Thank you. So that means your next opponent is Applesauce. Unfortunately, Muncha is knocked out of the tournament. He put up a hell of a fight. I'm surprised, honestly. He's been so busy working at YCG. I can't believe he hasn't gotten burnt out on this game.
Yeah, he's definitely done really well.
Yeah,
How do you
that
feel
next.
about, How do you feel about applesauce?
I
You want
mean,
revenge?
I'll put it this way: I've been doing a few races with him the past few days, and I've lost all of them. But I think, I think his sum of best is maybe 10 seconds better than mine, so it should be a relatively even match on paper. But if that's the case, I have about a 25% chance of winning because I have to win 2 in a row. So it's going to be tough.
Yeah, for you viewers, Primorix ended up in the lower bracket after losing to Applesock in winners. So this is a revenge match. The grand finale is the revenge of Primorix. Maybe.
Return
Maybe.
of the Bagfellow. Bagfellow strikes back.
This time it's for real.
So I'm taking a look at Speed Gaming's schedule. It's kind of late at night at this point. But it looks like there's Link to the Past randomizer going on until the wee hours of the morning. That's on Speed Gaming 4, it seems. And if you tune in to Speed Gaming 3, Zelda 1 randomizer is also happening. And that looks like it for tonight. Stay tuned for whenever Applesauce and Bagfellow actually schedule their match. That'll be the grand finals. Super excited about that. And one of you two will be the proud winner of a brownie.
Oh man, gotta step up my game.
Do it for the brownie.
Shovel has never worked so hard for delicious chocolatey treat.
Gotta pull a flat and get the record during the race.
Alright, that will take care of things.
So thank you for watching, everyone, and use your trusty shovels.
Yeah, for shovelry.